Now, I think these are all certain tips again. See, you may be paying incentives. Whether should I consider incentive as part of wages or should I exclude it, right? You may be paying ex gratia or some other component, right? But let us broadly understand. Make it very, very simple. Your monthly gross salary of the individual employee, whatever is guaranteed, committed by the employer, right? That have that as a base, have the monthly gross salary as total remuneration. Then ascertain what are all the components available there. In that, what are all the components which are to be included, what are the components which are to be excluded. If the excluded portion, total quantum, goes beyond 50% of the total monthly gross salary, then I think you may have to adjust. Let us make it very, very simple, right? See, there can be certain payments which may arise out of operation of some law. Say, for example, payment of bonus. Irrespective of whether the company is mentioning this in the appointment order or not, right? If it is otherwise to the individual employee, right? But those payments will also be read into the contract of employment, because that will also be treated as part of obligations mentioned under the contract of employment, right? That is one thing. Second thing is, there can be certain agreements between the management and the unions. So we call it as settlement, right? Typically under 12(3) section ID Act, as also 18(1), that is bipartite. 12(3) is tripartite, right? So whatever is payable because of the agreement entered into between the management and the union, that will also be considered as obligatory payment, and that will also be read into the contract of employment, right? Let us be very, very clear on that. And fourth point is, there can be certain payments which may arise out of the policies of the company. Typical example, again, incentives. Many of the companies, I think it is coming through policy only, right? When we say policy, there can be two things. It can be obligatory, it can be discretionary. If you make it as discretionary, then that will not be considered as part of wages. If you are making it as obligatory, say for example, if you are coming up with some performance incentive for your employees, right? If you leave the choice to the individual employee, instead of insisting the individual employee to do or provide performance as per the performance incentive scheme, instead of insisting that person, if you are leaving the choice to them, suppose if they don't achieve, then they will be getting normal salary, whatever is agreed upon through the contract of employment, right? But instead, if you are insisting, then that becomes obligatory. That is how it is. There are case laws for that, right? So just to understand, I'm saying all these things. So but the payments which are to be made as per your policies, the payments which are to be made as per the settlement entered into between the management and the union, the payments which are to be made as per the operation of various laws, payment of bonus act, payment of gratuity act, minimum wages, whatever it is. Then the payment which is specifically mentioned in the contract of employment. If you are bringing it all these things on records and communicating it to the individual employee and getting in signature, then you become, I think both the parties become binding on those clauses, so that all these payments will become obligatory, right? Of course, still, if it is purely paid out of say payment of based on the payment of bonus act, then you need not consider that as part of wage, because the calculation itself is for 1 year. Payment of bonus, the calculation itself is for 1 year after the end of the accounting year. Today the practice could be something different. Let us, but what is contemplated under the payment of bonus act is, after ascertaining the available surplus, allocable surplus, then I think they may have to allot some percentage, which should fall between 8.33 and 20. That is the idea. But instead, if we are making it as a class, and if you are agreeing that it will be paid on a monthly basis, then I think we are getting into some difficulty. We don't know where it will end, right? Because the interpretation could differ. right? So again, finally, the CTC, cost to the company. Yes, we can continue to use the term cost to the company, but let us be very, very careful that the monthly gross salary of the individual should be ascertainable, right? It is a choice whether should I mention the monthly gross salary under the contract of employment, right? Or should I mention the CTC? It is a choice. Both are right, right? But wherever the CTC is mentioned, my suggestion would be ensure the monthly gross salary of the individual is very clearly ascertainable, because that is what is more relevant when it comes to the question of compliance under the labor laws, right? Because the monthly gross, the deductions made, and the net salary. These are all the three items which are essential for doing the compliance as far as labor laws are concerned. It could be different for some, say, for example, finance law or commercial laws or corporate laws. It could be different. Even if it is a monthly LTA, can also have some impact when it comes to the question of, say, Income Tax Act. Similarly, payment of bonus, that can have some impact. Gratuity, that can have some impact. But that is from different branch of law. But for the purposes of labor laws, this is how we may have to look at it, right? So broadly, I just thought I could spend some time on wages, because that seems to be very, very important, and most of the corporates are looking to understand what exactly it is. That is the reason I just thought I could share these points. I just move on with the other points in the course.